Hey everyone, welcome to episode 43 of the Pickleball Effect podcast. I'm Braydon.
And I'm Kyle.
And we're joined by Jordan Briones. Jordan, I wasn't sure you were going to show up today, dude.
Really?
Like we're texting a few days ago and you're like, yeah, we can make it. But you're a slow texter. There's a few days between each text. And I'm like, oh man, I think he's going to come, but I'm not 100% sure. But he's here.
Yeah.
Jordan's here.
Man. Thanks for having me. No, I've just been really busy, dude.
No, I feel you.
Yeah. But I'll show up. For sure.
His top note was actually, I hope he shows up.
Yeah, that was bullet one. Right. So yeah, well, we had backup points just in case.
Got it. Well, obviously, yeah, you just don't know me that well yet, man. I'm there, man. Not. I'm here, man.
just not in the text messages.
Yeah.
No, dude, you're so you've been in Boise for a little bit. You're doing some clinics here, hanging out. Tell us, for those listening who don't know who you are, tell us a bit about what you do and why you're in Boise.
Yeah. So, obviously, I'm a pickleball YouTuber, you can call it, but I like to teach. I'm an instructor. I've been in pickleball a long time.
Dude, so long.
There's people obviously that's been playing longer than me, but I would say, compared to most, I've been in the game a long time and coaching a long time. So that's what I do. Our channel, Briones Pickleball, and we teach and we have a lot of different videos and stuff like that. So
yeah, you were super early on the YouTube instructional stuff. You started with Primetime. Like, what year was this?
2016,
2016, 2017,
something like that.
And then you started doing your own channel. You moved. Well, where were you living at the time? Because that was before Arizona, right?
Yeah, so I lived in California my entire life, up until 3 years ago when we moved to the Phoenix area in Arizona.
So Primetime was doing well. You guys were the biggest instructional channel at the time. Really, the only ones that were like doing it right, coming out with weekly topics, stuff that was actually helpful and interesting. And then, so yeah, you moved to Arizona three years ago.
Yep.
Bought a house, built a court in your backyard, doing instructional stuff there. And then you also do like intensive camps. I forget the exact name of them. Are they called intensives?
Yeah, VIP intensives, yeah.
So you've been doing those at your house, and is that what you're doing here?
Yeah, I don't do those at my house. I actually rent out a facility in Gilbert.
Okay.
But I'm doing a couple here. So yeah, but basically all the YouTube stuff, that's kind of like a full-time thing. And then obviously I love to teach and I love to work with players. So I do it in that way.
So, yeah. You've been doing this full-time. Were you full-time with Primetime?
I was not. So everything kind of shifted when I left California. So I was, for those of, people who have been following me a long time, I was working full-time at UPS as a truck driver, actually. And sorry, I was looking at Braydon the whole time. I need to look at Kyle too. All right. So, but no, I was in California. I was a full-time UPS driver, doing basically YouTube on weekends. So, like, you can imagine, like, working 60 hours a week as a truck driver, and then trying to do content and to make content and film all that on weekends, and then also having 3 kids. It's just like it was a really tough thing for about 2 or 3 years. And COVID happened, and also so that changed a lot for us, and then also just a whole bunch of other circumstances. But yeah, we left California, and with the intention of me doing this actually full time. And that's when I branched out and started Briones Pickleball. And from there, kind of just never looked back. 3 years have gone by pretty quickly. So, yeah, it's just been crazy.
Yeah, we have a pretty similar story. Like, I have 3 kids, was working full time, wanted to do this, and then made the switch, haven't looked back. And it's been awesome, been slowly growing. And I just feel like your channel is just taken off. And, you went from... like, you started like over almost like 0 subscribers. Yeah. Did you know people in Arizona?
I have one uncle there. I just knew the one of the reasons we picked Arizona is because of the pickleball community. We actually looked at different states. We actually came here to Boise because my wife actually went to high school here. So
which school?
kind of randomly. not Mountain View, maybe Mountain View. I don't know.
Okay.
I'll get back to you on that. But I think it was in Meridian. But anyways, yeah, my wife went to high school here, so we checked out some other places besides Arizona, and we also, this is one of them we visited. But for sure at that time, like if you could think back like 3 years ago or 3.5 really, yeah, the pickleball scene was not what it is today. So Arizona just made sense. And initially, I'm sure you have some questions on this later, but like what I was planning out to do, like I needed a place that I can teach pretty much all year round, and Arizona was one of them.
Yeah, that worked out well. Like Arizona, when I think of like 2 or 3 places where pickleball is huge, you have like Arizona,
Southern Florida.
You got Utah. There's a couple of spots in California, but like Arizona turned into one of
The hotbeds,
the
yeah.
hotbeds, and like
Yeah.
you read that well. That was good foresight. And there's a lot of like burgeoning pros out of there. They have like the Arizona Pickleball League. Are you involved with that at all?
Not directly, no, but I know Jigsaw and all those people, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of pros that are actually moving into Arizona now, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, you're just the OG of everything. OG Arizona, OG YouTube instructor. Anyway, it's really impressive what you've done, and really looking forward to picking
Picking your
My
brain.
brain?
picking your
Oh,
brain.
okay.
Is that the phrase?
Yeah. Picking your brain.
Well, it depends. I don't know what you're picking, man.
Yeah, we're picking the brain. But yeah, so we have some questions out here. We do what we call a 3 out of 5 segment. So we both wrote down.
Do we stop at 5-0? We're not eclipsing that.
No,
That's it.
No,
right?
that is the max.
All right.
If you're listening,
Nobody above that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So nobody above that listens to this.
No, yeah.
Okay. I was kidding.
Yeah, have you eclipsed? Would you consider yourself a 6-0?
I mean, I don't know, man. It doesn't really matter. I don't play tournaments anymore, but I know where my skill level is at.
Just say, yeah, I'm a 6-0.
No, I
You
mean,
gotta be so
I
humble.
think I would really be close. I mean, I'm definitely in between 5-2, 5 and 6-0 if I had to like put a number on it, but like it doesn't. Yeah, I don't play tournaments, so it doesn't matter. No one really cares.
So we'll do some stuff there, and then we do a thing called Kyle's Corner, where he just kind of brings up some topics that have been going around news wise, and we'll let you chime in on those. But
Cool.
so we'll start with some of our 3 out of 5 stuff.
All right. So first, big fan.
So thanks, man.
I've been watching you since the beginning. When it was
when is your beginning?
like 2018 in 2019. So it was basically like you and Simone were like the only instructional content out there. So big fan. But question, so as the game has evolved, because it's changed so much over those years, paddles, strategy, ball getting faster.
Yep.
What has changed with your teaching as far as like strategy? Like what's the biggest change in your teaching?
Man, I could give you a lot. Just to like give you a background of, I don't know. Yeah, it's changed so much. I think it has to do with 2 main things. And I'm going to get to your question, but just to give the viewers a little something, the talent in the game, that's number 1, right? As more people play the game, there's so much more evolution. And then obviously like what you do, Braydon, like the paddles, right? Paddles has changed the game. Those are the 2 main factors. Teaching wise though, I've came a long way, and I think any good coach, especially this early on in a newer sport, I can call it, should adapt as the game grows. I mean, good coaches will. And unfortunately, there's not a ton of coaches that adapt as I've seen it. But before, obviously, the game was very, I would say, very consistent and consistent based, and very like soft. So there was a lot of dinks. There was a lot of there wasn't a lot of attacking. I mean, basically, to give you guys an example, like I came in, I'm going to be celebrating my 10 years, my decade next year.
Wow.
Congrats.
Next year. So I plan to do a really cool video for that and stuff like that. But, when people even listening to this right now, when I say that, they might like, oh, it wasn't like that. But before, you go back to like, so when I came into the game, I was watching 2012, 2013 championships on YouTube. Like when I first started, like, oh, like me and my dad started playing, I was like, oh, I want to see like what the best players are like. We just wanted to see, right? So 2012, those kind of championships and stuff like that. And if you look at it from back then to now, some big things in the game. So even when I first started teaching topspin, I was not very, it wasn't utilized as it is today.
Dude, that's so funny.
So seriously, I mean, on dinks, there was no one hitting topspin. On drops, there was no one hitting. So basically, the only shots from my eye as a coach that were used, that topspin was used, was the serve and the drive. Right?
Like,
not even on
too,
swinging volleys.
At that time, like paddles, they just didn't grab the ball like they do now. Like
it didn't, but I guarantee you
still could do something.
You can still I mean, even with a wooden paddle today, I mean, you see channels like Zane doing it, and I mean, I can still apply topspin, but it definitely, technology changed that. But it was the players of the game. It was just in its infancy too. But topspin, attacking, and that has to do with topspin, obviously, and defense has greatly improved. Obviously, as any high-level player, your defense is going to have to definitely improve. So just offense in general, and when we talk about strategy, that changes a lot, like strategy as well. We're not dinking until we die anymore. So.
Yeah, I mean, the offense has obviously increased, but the amount of balls that come back blows my mind. Like even at like our level, like when you get 4-5, 5-0, 5-5, you don't just win points from mistakes anymore, right? Like you have to create, you have to beat them, and it's tough. Like so many stuff comes back. It's amazing.
Oh, real quick, Kyle, right?
Yes, sir.
Did you ask me strategy or what has changed in general?
Like just your coaching strategy, like how's that changed?
Okay, yeah. So I've obviously all that. So I've developed and learned, had to study the game and all that. And one of the big ones, and if you're on my newsletter, I always tell players this, but like, the two-handed backhand has totally changed the game, and it's not gonna stop. So, just in the past like 3-4 years, I've been teaching it more and more and more, and it's just really important. So like, and
do you think it's necessary now? Like,
what was that?
Do you think it's necessary if you're?
I think it's necessary if you want to be probably 5-0 plus for sure. Is it
all over the court, dinks, counters,
and the drive?
I think it's necessary, or will be, like the 5-0 in the 5-0 back then 7 years ago isn't the same 5-0 today. So do I think that amateur players, let's say, what if you're not trying to be a 5-0, if you're trying to just, if you're you'd be happy 4-0 and stuff like that, or 4-5, which is totally fine.
Kyle, it's okay to be 4-5 forever.
Hey,
excuse me,
who won this week in our duper match?
You're right.
Oh, okay.
You're right. You did beat me.
There you go.
I knew that was going to come up.
Yeah. But
unathletic 4-3.
First chances.
Okay. All right. Yeah, but even as I'm teaching, obviously the players that come to my intensives, they're, most of them, I mean, I run some high level ones, but most of them range from, at 3-0 to 4-5. I'm having a lot of success teaching the two-hander to players who just don't have control of a one-hander, because one-handed backhands is difficult if you don't have a racket sport. I mean, I meet two players. It's funny because some players, obviously, I would say 70-80% their forehand is much more natural, but there are players where the backhand is more natural and their forehand is very weak. But for the players that struggle with the backhand, I definitely would introduce the two-hander because it offers so much.
So you don't think that's restricted to like a higher level play? Like
no, not at all.
Any level can utilize that?
Yeah. I mean, I'm even teaching 3-0 as a two-handed backhand. And because of what it offers, I mean, the control, power, and stability, and spin eventually. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
That's awesome.
All right. Next question is for me. So when you're like, do you teach a specific style or do you personalize it to the person? So for example, let's say a person is naturally more aggressive. They like to drive, they like to attack versus someone who's a little more patient, likes to play defense. Do you try to bring them to the middle, or do you like, okay, this person's aggressive, let's help you be better at that, or this person's really good at defense, let's make you really good at that, or do you try to balance them out? Like, how do you approach different play styles? No, do you get what I'm asking?
Yeah, I do. Um, I don't know. I guess it would be easier to answer the question if I can kind of tell you a little bit what I do in my intensives.
Yeah, go for it.
So like this we're doing these 5-day intensives now where players come from all over and they train for me for a full 5 days.
Which is so cool.
That sounds
Like,
awesome.
I thought this was brilliant. I don't think there's anybody else really doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
With those. When I first saw you like announce those, I was like, brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, and we could get in, I don't know if you have questions about that later, but
We'll get
like,
into it a little bit,
okay,
yeah.
so that's fine. But so I do these 5 days intensive now, and you know, where players, it's a full experience, but also I'm on court with them for like 25 plus hours, you know, and they ask me questions. I mean, we're with each other the whole week. I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, just like if I'm a more aggressive
Gotcha.
person, yeah.
I got you. Thank you. So we do all this training for the full 4 full days, and then leading up to kind of a very pressure scenario. So on the last day, we do like a round robin tournament, right? Where they can put all the things into practice. So as I've been, you know, one of the things we do, I write action plans for every player, and I do slow-mo analysis, all this other stuff. But as I am doing that currently, right now, I'm still working on the last group. But like, as I write everyone's action plans, everyone is totally different. Like when, you know, they have better forehands, or they are really, they're very offensive, or they're really good at resets, but they can't attack, right? I'm kind of, you know, I've never answered it this way, but I am a believer in having or striving to have a complete game, right? So for those defensive players out there, like if, you know, I haven't seen your game yet, Kyle, or I mean, I've hit with you, Braydon, right? But like, if you're really defensive, we're going to hone in on those strengths, like, cause we should, right? And you should play to them. But also, what do we like? Whatever the deficiency is, like where we lack a little bit, we have to work on that, because that's going to get exposed later on in the higher level you go. Yeah, and now at lower levels, I think it's a lot easier to hide weaknesses, right? And it's a lot easier to play to your strengths. But the higher level you go, and this is something for your listeners, like, you know, as you move up the ranks, it's harder to hide your weaknesses, and it's a little bit harder to keep playing to your strengths because of the accuracy of like what players can do. So, you know, I try to do that, but there is 2 kind of camps. Like if you look at polar opposite, we have basically really defensive, not attacking, super consistent, and then we have very, very offensive, right? Kind of just a little wild and stuff like that. So I try to, you know, reel it in, but every player is different.
Yeah, that's a good answer. I like that. I'm a believer that you win games by using your strengths, but you have to have a complete game, right? As you get better, like they can not only is the game more consistent, but they can pick on certain things. They can find your weaknesses. They pick on it. If it's not complete, you're not going to win.
Yeah.
And that's good. I like that. Okay, second question, I guess, kind of related to this. Okay, like if you were given a 10-year-old athlete, all right, best athlete in the world,
Okay,
and you were going to train him to beat Ben Johns, what would be like? Would you start off teaching them attacking, offense, defense later? Like, how would you build this person to be the most complete player?
Well, it's kind of like what I do today. I mean, my philosophy on that doesn't really change. So if you look at Ben, most accomplished player on the men's side, right now, he has a complete game. So you know, and there's a lot of strategy stuff, like we can talk about that, but I would take that player and develop it all, right? We have to develop all. I wouldn't start on offense or start on defense. I mean, I do work with kids sometimes, and I start from the basics, right? Depends where they are, but it's everything. I mean, if you look at a Ben, the soft game is really important. Hands, resets in the transition game.
Is there like a particular skill you're like, okay, if you're going to be the best in the world, you have to be elite, whether is it hands? I mean, obviously you have to have a complete game, but you need something that like is going to do it for you. You know what I mean? Like, would you, maybe we say this, like if you were to pick 3 players, maybe like JW's hands, Ben John's defense, like what 3 things would you combine to make the ultimate player?
I like that.
So Ben, one of the reasons that makes him the best is his strategy and mental game. Okay, so totally 2 different things, but the mental game, I mean, you can kind of understand what that is. But his strategy, how he picks apart like what he's gonna do, and he doesn't wait. Like him and his brother, what makes them so successful is that they don't waver from the plan, right? Their plan, right? So that's that. But I could pick a whole bunch of different players that I would,
give us 2 or 3 that come to mind. You think?
Yeah, obviously like JW's hands would be great, there's a lot of good players with like, so dinks wise, I mean, you would have to pretty much give it to Ben, like just dinks, like the variety, right, of his dinks. And you could even see today, like how he's implementing and using the 2-handed backhand more. So I mean, one of the things that I said a while ago is like we're going to probably start to see him. It's going to be interesting to see how his game even evolves next year, because I think he's going to be using more and more 2-handed rolls.
Yeah, he's starting to throw the 2-handed rolls and dinks in.
And
I've heard him say that he is jealous of Annalie's 2-handed rolls off the backhand, and he wants something similar.
Yeah, he just doesn't have enough reps yet. You know what I mean? Because Annalie, if you think about all the ladies, their backhands are amazing because they hit them all the time. They don't hit slices. Like Annalie doesn't hit a slice, barely. But hands, yeah, you can give it to someone like JW and things like that. I don't know if you guys watched the like most recent tournament. I don't know where it was, but you saw Hayden, right? Patrick Quinn and Pablo Tejas.
This was San Clemente?
Yeah.
So they obviously big upset. But when I look at complete game now, as I've seen like Hayden's game, like come up, man, he's just gotten
impressed by him.
And really impressed. And a lot of that though, he's had all the shots. A lot of that has to do with his consistency and his decision making. So, the question you asked is like, what would I pick? I mean, Ben's just decision making is just really good, and I think that's what.
Do you feel like that's what kind of separates the elite from the good? Because like all these guys at the top of the game, like they all have everything. It feels like. Is it the decision making and the mental game that separates, the best from the good? Yeah,
the mental game is probably the most important thing, but they do. It's like two things. They do kind of have everything, but like I said, like there's strengths and weaknesses in every player. So you like, for example, like a Riley Newman, right? I know Riley really well. He's amazing. He's an amazing player, but his game is totally different than Ben's if you look at it like at face value. So I would say that someone like Ben, it's really hard. They're really hard to beat because he has the best dinks, I would say, pretty much right now, like how he directs them. And then if you have really great counters, like it's hard to get through those guys. So then you have to, really to beat Ben and Colin, you have to mix it up. You're not going to beat them unless so like Ignatowicz said this on his podcast at some point. I think I listened to it, but someone's going to beat them has to be as good dinkers as Ben, right? Whoever that is, because you're only going to beat them on like speed ups and being really offensive and throwing like lobs in and like mixing it up, because you're not going to beat them at that game like currently,
Although I feel like they've been losing more lately.
They have. It's been their win. Yeah, I mean it's been more. It's been more and more.
It's interesting.
It's getting hard. It's getting tougher.
The last like month and a half, they've had more losses. I feel like, and then they have the last like 2 years, which kind of brings up the question: like, do we think Ben is going to consider a new right side partner?
That's the talk.
What do you think, Kyle?
I think so.
Because like he did that tournament with James, and I wonder if he's on the hunt
Well, it didn't go that well.
I would say that one didn't go well.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously he gets to pick whoever he wants to play with, and I wonder if he'll switch it up. I don't know. I still feel like I don't know if there's anyone that can do what Colin does better than what Colin does, just because their games are so linked.
Well, there's no one better that can do Colin's role, but there are players that can sub in that would totally change their strategy and could be better than Ben and Colin.
Do you have ideas of who you think could potentially fill that spot if he were to switch?
Yeah, so like lefties,
I was gonna say,
right? That's a potential. And this talk, who knows? Like I don't know Ben and Colin. Like I don't know if that's actually a conversation being had. It could be for sure, but no. I mean, there's lefties in the game that right now that are really good.
Do you think that lefty righty combo is ideal? Like I've heard that other players say that.
I think it is, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see like a righty and lefty combo do really well. Well, we just saw with Hayden and Tavis.
Righty lefty.
So I think there's just so many so much benefit to that. So we'll have to see. But there are, like you said, like with Colin, there definitely is. He plays his role perfectly, but the dynamic will change if you have another elite player there. See, like we've never seen Ben and Riley play,
right?
Or we've never seen Ben and Dylan play, or like some other elite, right side players, or Ben and Thomas Wilson.
That'd be a fun one,
right? There's a lot of really good right side players.
Yeah, I don't know what will happen there. It'll be interesting to follow that. But yeah, I think everyone's just like, oh, they're losing now. Is Ben gonna go look for greener grass? But I always feel like they adapt.
Oh, exactly.
And figure things out. I think that's one of the things they're the best in the world at. And so I imagine that they'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Because whenever they start losing is when they start adding new things, when they start adapting,
Yes,
and then you see them come on top with something else.
Yeah, and you'll notice they're losing to teams that are first pair teams.
Yep.
So like when they play Hayden and Tejas again, they're gonna have. I mean, I know they sit there and study film just like I do. Like as a coach, I do that as a coach, but they're probably one of the best at that. So when they play that exact matchup, I know they're gonna know their spots. They're gonna know what they need to do. So
yeah.
So it's really hard to beat them. That's the thing, consistent. They're getting beat more often.
But it's random teams.
But it's like it's teams here and there.
That's a good point.
You know?
Yeah, there's not like a single team that's consistently beating them.
No, not yet.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I personally don't think there's a reason for them to split. I don't see it.
It would be fun though. I want to see him play with Augie.
People have met. I think was it Gingrich that said Augie is the guy for the like ultimate right sider for Ben.
I think so. I just think that'd be fun to watch.
Yeah,
he's a local to Arizona, right?
He's an Arizona
he is.
guy.
Yeah, he's been
I think
on.
he was on your pod once. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been on the channel a couple of times.
Yeah,
he
seemed like a good egg.
Yeah, he's awesome. Awesome guy.
Sweet. All right, next question. Are there any training tools that you implement in your lessons at all, or that you like personally?
Yeah. Well, so what do you mean by training tools?
Ball machines.
Got it. Yeah.
Trainer paddles. I feel like those have been a topic lately. Stuff like
Yeah.
that.
You know what's really interesting? A lot of people may use a lot of different things. Over the years, I've used cones. I've used like different things. But really, today as I teach, the main training tool I use is the Topspin Pro.
That's the
net thing.
It's like the ball. It's like the
No. It's a just look it up.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, it's like a rolling. It's like a ball. It's like a T-ball, right?
Yeah, but you
But
can.
it's like stuck there.
Yeah, it helps you create topspin.
I'll put it on the pod so people
Yeah, I've
can
never
see
hit it.
There you go. Yeah, we have a discount code if you want to check it out.
Yeah, there you go.
I know. So use Jordans.
Yeah, but there's a lot of different things I can use, but I've today, like when I'm teaching, I do use like balls and cones for like actual spots, like what we're hitting. But besides that,
This is like targets.
Yeah, it's targets.
Okay.
But besides that, really, in the Topspin Pro, I don't use much because I think that I could get it all done with those two. I mean, there's a lot there's a lot of different things out there. But the trainer paddles, I've definitely experimented with that, and there's a lot of things I think that are beneficial. But me as a coach and what I need to get across, those have just been the most beneficial for me. So just targets. The Topspin Pro is great because obviously as this game, like it's so important to learn topspin. I think even at a low level, at least the basics of how do we create topspin at a very basic level. And I think that it just helps. And I also use it too because, and maybe you'll have it up on a screen or something like that, but because the ball sits there, and you know, one of the big things at any level is footwork. Like we talk about it so much, footwork and your positioning to hit the ball. So something like that is just really useful for, like, you know, footwork stuff and spacing and all that stuff.
That's interesting. Yeah, I've seen people use that. And but yeah, the footwork, yeah, I guess, like, where do you want the ball to sit in your sweet spot, and finding that, and then just getting a few reps in and then translating that to the court.
Yeah.
Have you ever used that, Kyle?
I have not.
No. All right. You sold me. I'll use your code.
You guys are lacking.
We're gonna have to use your code. Second question: ball machines, because ball machines are super hot right now. Everybody has one.
I don't.
Well, I mean, a lot of people have them.
I'm surprised, actually, right?
How
they have one at the club.
It's true. How beneficial do you think they are? Do you think a ball machine with a coach is better than somebody just getting a ball machine to prevent them from just ingraining terrible habits? Because I look at a ball machine and I'm like, if I had 1,000 reps of a backhand, but it's a crappy backhand, I'm just ingraining bad habits. So, like,
I mean, is that an issue with the ball machine, or is that just
no? But I think that some
That's
people
Kyle's
value.
backhand.
yeah, it's just Kyle's backhand.
I do think some people value the ball machine more than coaching.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like that $1,500 could have been
Like,
better spent going to Jordan's
Oh,
camp.
there we go. There's a question.
Ooh, we're getting into it.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, no, but I would, no, it's 100% right. Obviously. Right now, one of the questions I get on my intensives, one of the main, I get a lot, right? But it is, hey, what do you think of a ball machine, right? No, it is true. It's true. You can have a tool. Anything's a tool, right? Or, you know, like
Kyle's a tool.
Yeah. Like that too, but and everything could help you potentially, right? But like you said, like with the backhand thing, like I know a lot of people with a ball machine, and it's depending on how you use it. And you're right, you can hit the same shot 1,000 times with bad footwork, bad technique, and then when you get in a game, it's just like, of course it's gonna break down. But yeah, I would always pick coaching over that. But that being said, though, right, one of the most common questions I get is, are ball machines useful? In my experience, just with my own personal game and also just with as all the people I coach, I would always pick a drilling partner over a ball machine. But I always tell players, like, if you don't have anything, it's a good, like, supplement for it. The problem with ball machines is you're getting one shot, and so it's really good for technique and reps.
Okay.
Right? Like if you're actually working, let's say you're working on a backhand roll, like actual technique, very important. Obviously, if you're doing it incorrectly, then we don't want to create bad habits. But besides that, like actual gameplay, like I even, like, will I, you know, at my level right now, will I actually hit with a ball machine, or will I play like even with a low 4-0? I want to pick a low 4-0 every time.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, because I get my reps, I get actual balls coming to me, and that's where I can still work
Real
on
life scenarios.
Yeah, I could still work on all my stuff. But ball machines could be definitely useful. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I haven't used ball machines once. The one time I did use it was a few weeks ago. Like the Gen 3s had just come out and people were just smoking it, and I just wasn't handling it well. And so I pulled out the Ernie, put it at like 80 miles an
crank it
hour,
up.
and I was just working on just meeting it out in front and just, you know, poking it down at an angle.
So let me ask you, did it help?
It did.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you really? Are
Yeah.
you sure?
I can handle drives a lot. Like just seeing that pace a lot,
Okay.
I think helped.
Okay.
Just
All
like,
right.
because when I don't know, I cranked it up, and then when I went and played like Michael or something, it's like, oh, you're weak
Your
sauce,
balls-
dude. This Ernie's coming 80. You could only hit it like 60. No, it did help. Like
Okay.
I was definitely
Cool.
hitting less and just putting smaller swings on it. I was just working
Yeah.
on just meeting out in front, just
Nice.
poking it down, and like just try to bring them to the net because that's where I can beat them. And you know, it's helped. That's really the only time I've used the ball machine. I actually bought one a few years ago. Ended up selling it because I just didn't use it as much as I thought I would.
I just sold mine last week.
Which one did you have?
I had a lobster. I used it twice.
That's the one I had.
Yeah.
I think ball machines have gotten better. Like you have the Titan, the Ernie that have like more capabilities.
Because now they can do like actual drills. Like it can hit you a drop, then a lob, then a drive, like in succession, which is way cooler.
And I think they're more accurate. The lobster was kind of just wild. It's just everywhere, dude. But no, that one's fun. All right, I want to talk tournament. I know you said you don't do tournaments, but you've done a lot of tournaments. I'm sure you advise people on tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm playing APP Newport. What's your best tip for translating?
You're playing APP Newport?
Yeah.
What division?
Doing 5-0 for doubles and then 5-0 30 plus for singles.
5-0 for double.
I'm like-
5-0 19 plus.
Mhm.
And then 5-0 35 plus.
And I'm really happy they're doing 30 plus. I talked about this in the previous pod. I was like, been playing all these young kids.
Yeah.
It's like it'll be nice to play my age.
How old are you again?
32.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. But yeah, what's your best tip for translating? Like playing. Like I play really good in rec games. How does that translate to tournaments? Like, what's your best tip for that?
To work on your mental game, really. And there are different ways you can do that. But I always tell players this too, like especially like when you're learning new things. Like even when players come train with me, we're going over a lot of things. But some things take a really short time to implement, but some things take quite a long time. I'm sure whatever shots that you guys are currently working on, like actually adding to your game. I always say that there's there is a natural progression, and we actually see it in Ben's game for him to use it as an example. But you hone in on a skill, you drill it, and reps after rep until you feel really good. Then you slowly bring it into your drill games, I'll call them, right? And then slowly into rec, and then potentially into tournament play. But the mental game is big, and I think that just like, and I always tell players this too, because obviously the players that come to me are playing a lot of tournaments, but playing more tournaments is just helpful for dealing with tournaments. Because I remember my very last tournament, I didn't play in a really long time. I felt all the pressure. I felt all that. So it's a real thing. But the best thing, these pros play every freaking week,
Yeah, it's just
so
normal.
That's not even the issue for them. But for amateurs and like things like that, gaining some mental knowledge of like how to reset, how to control your emotions and those kinds of things, and then everything you worked up to and everything you've kind of built, that's what you have for that day, right? You're not going to change anything, your technique or like anything when the day comes, but you just got to rely on what you know.
I like that. I've been playing more tournaments this year and traveling more for tournaments, and it's almost like a whole different mindset when I'm traveling. Like when I went to like Dallas for a tournament, like it's you're 2 and you're out. Like you spend a lot of money to stay there to participate. You're like you want to do well, and you're feeling like you put a lot of pressure on yourself because of the added cost, and like your partner traveled in, you want to do well for them, and like it can be tough. And I get into my own head sometimes. I get a little more intense, a little more I don't know what the word is, like over focused almost, because like I want to do good. Like you just want to do good. And so for my last couple of tournaments, like going into Newport, I'm putting an emphasis on just staying relaxed. Like being focused is fine, but still like staying light, having fun, and just to your point, don't try to add anything. Don't try to overthink. It's okay to do like 1 or 2 strategy points, but keep it simple and just play. Don't try to reinvent yourself at the tournament. Just do what you know how to do. And that's my thought process going into this one. And hopefully we can play better. But I'm excited about that. Yeah, I've never done an APP.
It's fun.
Their format's a little different. They do like the round robin.
You've
They changed
you've never
it.
done an APP?
No, I've only done PPA and local
Oh,
stuff.
okay.
They don't do the round robin anymore.
No, they changed to that because when I played APP Newport last year, that was not the format.
Yeah, this year I think it's
you could
round
be
robin.
2 and out.
And then does everyone go through the round robin?
It's some kind of. I'd have to look at the format, but I saw APP switch for amateurs to like a round robin format, so you get more games.
Yeah, I'm not sure if like the top 4 advance or.
I'm sure it's pools and then the top.
Even amateurs, they do that?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, only amateurs.
Only amateurs, yeah. In APP.
The pros don't do the
I
play,
see.
obviously.
Okay.
But they changed the pro format too for like singles, wasn't it, like rally scoring, and APP's done a lot of weird stuff.
Oh,
with the format.
they're doing rally?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And they're using the plane of Franklin X40, which actually I think kind of benefits me.
Yeah, dude.
That definitely
Like,
that
kinda
definitely
plays into
benefits
my
you.
game.
I love the Franklin ball, dude.
I do too. Have you played their new one yet?
There's a new
There's
Franklin
a new
ball.
Franklin coming
Yeah.
out. They're trying to make a more like competitive, faster ball.
So it's faster.
Yeah, I got some in my bag. I'll give you one
Gotcha.
when we leave.
All right.
I still like the original. They're going to keep the original Franklin,
Mm.
and I still like it a lot. Anyways, it'll be fun. Temperature in Newport's not like overly hot.
No,
Well, it depends. What month is this?
Like next
like
week.
yeah, it's like a couple
It's like
days.
this
I
week. I'm
mean,
flying out
yeah, it's
Thursday.
not typically, but it could be like a random like high 90s.
Okay.
You know?
Nothing we're not seeing here though.
Yeah.
you'll be all right.
No.
Okay, cool. I like that. And then this is my last question for tournament stuff
Sure.
here. So if you're going into a tournament, would you rather play a team you've never played before, or someone that you know well?
Definitely not played before.
Oh, really? Why is that?
And well, you've heard this before, right? I mean, the running joke is like you sign up for this tournament, pay not tens of thousands, but thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars or whatever, and then you go to show up to play like the people from your own town, right? So that happens a lot, but I think mentally, from a lot of players, and I hear this all the time, that like it's harder to compete against people that you know sometimes already. Because, like you have the pressure on you, like, oh, I've already beat them, or I know their game. But it goes both ways. But I don't know. I mean, if I knew, like, okay, I guess here's a real life example. If I knew I could consistently beat those players, yeah, I would want to play them, right? But no, I think playing somebody new is a good challenge, and it's I think I'd prefer that.
Yeah, like from like a strategy standpoint, sometimes I prefer knowing them a little bit because then
Yeah.
like I have some sort of like strategy going into or like places to pick on a little bit. So like I like that aspect of it. But yeah, and then playing someone new is fun, right? Like that's why you travel and do tournaments, get new looks. But sometimes it's nice to play someone you know. But then that, to your point, like that adds a new like mental nuance, or it's like, okay, if you think you're better than them, that adds like a level of pressure that
for sure.
I don't know, like you just got to let go of all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like you just got to play, be free, and it's so hard to do that. And
It is
that's what
hard.
I'm trying to get better at.
Yeah.
All right,
man.
let's hop over to Kyle's corner. So, Kyle, give us
Oh, okay.
give us some
Was
stuff that's going. Actually, you know what? Before we
that
jump
was
into
Braydon's corner, and we're going to Kyle's corner now. Huh?
yeah.
Mine will be quicker.
But before, actually, I did want to ask you before we jumped onto that. So, tell us a little bit about like you're working on some online courses, right? This is new, and then you do the intensives. I don't know. Tell us about kind of those projects you have going on because I want to hear about that, and I think it's interesting.
Yeah. So we just finished our first online course, and we have more to come.
Like, could I go on your website right now and
Yeah,
purchase this?
well, actually, attackmasterclass.com is the website URL, and it's actually a free masterclass training that we did, and then you see the other stuff there.
Okay.
But as the game, talking about how the game has transformed, what we did, our very first one was I took up all the things that I've been teaching, and as I've learned the game and studied the game, basically attacking, right? How to attack, because a lot of players don't know how, and you get up to the line, but how do we create, right? How do we create offense as opposed to playing defensively,
Waiting for a
and
pop-up.
reactively and waiting for pop-ups? So that's the first thing we worked on. So that's and that's our first course. And then what was your second question?
Well, yeah, I mean, I want to kind of dive into that a little bit. So this is like a 6-week program type thing where you just go sign on, or you just kind of take it on as
Oh no, you take it on.
self-paced?
It's just a one time thing, and then self-paced and
And you're gonna do more of these. Like you said, the attacking master class is free, so I could go sign up for that right now.
Yep.
Do you have others in the pipeline? Is this going to turn into like a revenue stream for you?
yeah, it definitely it will be a revenue stream, and we have a lot more coming.
Nice.
But a lot of different categories. I mean, there's so many things in pickleball, and so many ways I can teach, a particular topic, and that's really important and really impactful for players. So yeah, we have a lot planned. Yeah.
The like when's the next one coming out? Like what can we look forward to?
Well, it's in the process of being shot right
Is
now.
it okay?
So I'm not sure, but I mean, they can always follow us on our YouTube channel and our email list on our website and everything.
Yeah, I love the idea of this because like YouTube's great, right?
Yeah.
For if you're looking for specific things, but it's the structured format that
Yes.
these classes give you that I
Yeah.
think is so powerful. And when you're following it sequentially, like you
Yeah.
mentioned earlier, like okay, when I'm learning a new skill, I'm going to drill it, then I'm going to do drill games, and then I'm going to do rec play, and then tournaments. Like that
Yeah.
format is really good. Like I
Yeah.
just, it was the first time I kind of
Yeah, I like that.
heard that, and I was like, that's solid, and that's probably, I imagine, all that stuff's like incorporated into like learning new skills, and yeah, that's exciting. There's really not too much of that kind of stuff going on. It's a lot of just YouTube random skills and topics.
Yeah.
So I think it's brilliant.
Yeah. Like the YouTube is great. Obviously, we touch a lot of different topics on that. But like for our first kind of like training program online, attackmasterclass.com. It was just to really just highlight just that one big subject, right? It's really big, like attacking, right? But it's really a step-by-step process, and what I'm looking for, how I'm doing it, what kind of shots I'm hitting, that kind of thing.
That's awesome. And did you do that first with the idea of going into paid courses later, or did that kind of give you the idea of like, oh, I could scale this?
A little bit of both. I mean, my whole goal I do have a business coach that helps me with kind of like the YouTube and just kind of like everything planning. So, and he's great. But when it, one of the things that he said to me, cause like there's pickleball, everything, there's so much things out there, right? But me as a good coach, like if I really believe in what I teach and I really believe like I can be helpful, and I've shown that, like I know I can, because I help players all the time. Like I want to reach the most people I can. Like that would make sense. Like it would be a disservice for me not to reach the pickleball community. So for scaling, but also just for like we're getting into some Facebook ads, and we're doing some different things like so we can reach more players. But I want to see players really happy about their game, and I want to see them improve. I mean, that's, as a coach, that's where I'm coming from. So
yeah, I love that, dude. And from like a business side, it makes so much sense. Like someone, if they find you on YouTube, right? Like you have this funnel, like they watch when you're like, oh, this is cool, I want more. They find your website, they find your course, then they do an intensive, and it's like this nice progression. Like you can go as deep as you want, get as much Jordan as you need to get up there, and like it makes a lot of sense. And yeah, the online courses is like an untapped, like, I don't know, offering that really isn't out there much. There's only like 2 or 3 people, and I think it's gonna get bigger and better. And like for you to be on that early, like I couldn't think of a more qualified person to put those together. You got the video system down, the knowledge, the experience. These are gonna be really good. So I'll put links to what you have now, and go follow Jordan on Instagram and stuff to keep up to date with that, because I think that's cool.
Cool.
All right, next.
Drama.
All right.
All right.
Drama.
Oh, is that what Kyle's calling about?
Yeah, almost always.
Oh, okay.
So
His life is drama.
about 10 episodes ago, we actually talked about this. So I got a hold of some audio. It was a hot mic from the PPA San Clemente. And
A hot mic?
It was a hot mic.
Okay.
And then I ran it through voice isolation to remove the court noise.
Okay.
And you have 2 pros
Oh, okay.
talking
So
about the male pros, like my paddles might not pass. I got 3 in the fridge cooking right now. Then she's laughing and she's like, I got 6 in my fridge.
Is this real?
Yes. Oh, yeah. 100%.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So as we were talking about pros cooling their paddles down to pass deflection.
Dude.
So I posted on Instagram, tag PPA, tag everybody.
I don't have the
Wait,
guts to do that stuff.
so you got this audio?
Yeah.
Only you though?
Yeah, I'm the one who posted it, and I ran it through voice isolation. And yeah.
Wow.
So then John May hits me up. He's like, you're crazy if you think this is happening. So then we start DMing, and I'm telling him like, no, this is happening. Like I've heard about this for months. And he's like, I don't believe you, blah, blah, blah. If you prove it's right, I'll come on your podcast. So then Todd Fott, who ends up being the male voice in the hot mic, he hits me up.
Did you know that's who it was?
I did, but I didn't want to call them out because somebody had messaged me and said,
so now it's out. Then obviously you're saying his name.
Yeah. Todd actually posted on my post defending himself, but we talked in DMs.
Wow.
Opened my eyes a little more to why it's happening and how many people are actually doing this.
Yeah, tell us about your conversation with Todd.
So Todd tells me basically the deflection test uses like 42 pounds and pushes on it, whatever. And what's happening is these cores, like it's hot.
Yeah.
It's 90 degrees.
Yeah.
The paddles are failing right off the shelf because it's just a little too hot.
We're gonna start to see pros just those like the roller coolers.
Yeah.
We'll just have to see them, and then when they pull it out, it's just a whole bunch of ice that falls out.
But Jason then says they wait till it's at room temperature, so they're cooling it down, then waiting for the best chance. Because he's saying 002s fail almost notoriously if they're just a little warm.
That's what Todd plays?
Yeah, he plays with the 002. And then he says that every Engage Pro has to do it because the black core gets hot quick.
Wait, so what are we? Okay, so I didn't know we're jumping into just like random stuff.
This is random stuff.
So is this my reaction to that? Or?
Yeah.
Everyone's reaction.
Well, yeah,
everyone's reaction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you know anything about any of this kind of stuff going on?
I know. I've heard. I mean, I listen to like the Dink or podcast or, I've listened to some stuff. No, I've heard of it. I didn't know people actually got called out for it.
Yeah, they got caught on a hot mic.
But dude, yeah, it's just, dude, this game is just like, that's where we're at right now. The whole paddle thing, as you know, Braydon. I mean, all that news that came out with, the $100,000. I mean, there's just so much. Like, what's going to happen? I don't know, man. Who knows?
Oh, that's a tough question. How do you feel about the UPAA thing? Do you think moving to that versus the USAP is a good move?
Oh, man, it just sucks. I mean, Braydon, I know this. I mean, it could like affect you directly. Like when we're talking about just like what paddles are approved, what are being used, dude. Like I don't know, man. It sucks for smaller companies, obviously, right? But as I look at, I mean, I come from tennis, right? So I played a lot of tennis, but like it's just, I would have to look up the ruling. But as far as my knowledge from tennis, now I know it's a way different sport, but I don't know if there's certain rackets that are not allowed. I don't think so, but I could be wrong. Or if there's like only certain
there's
companies
rackets available that you could potentially buy that aren't like allowed.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think it is true, but like, yeah, if that's the case, then obviously a little bit of a monopoly, right? So it's just, yeah, it's definitely unfortunate for small companies.
Yeah, we're going to have to just, like, it's so hard to predict what's going to happen. We have to wait for more news and information there because, I don't know. It's going to be drawn out a little bit. Like, it's going to be 1-2 years before everything kind of comes to fruition there.
Yeah.
So we have some time to kind of figure it out, digest it. But yeah, that one's a weird one. But I do want to jump back to your hot mic stuff because I don't want to like decriminate or whatever what they're doing. Because at first, when you told me that, I was like, okay, I think they're cheating. Like, this doesn't sound right. But when you talk to him,
so Todd is basically saying.
So what did he say? Basically, everyone's doing it.
He says there's a lot of people that are doing it, and that the same paddle at 60 degrees that passes is going to fail at 80 degrees.
So it's just based on the temperature. So yeah.
So it's not as much so where I was like, they're freezing it.
They're not cheating. They're
getting it to where it should be because of the outside weather. So like if it was an indoor tournament,
it would have been fine.
They would all be. That's just tough, man. And it's just like,
why should they have to do like that's what that bugs me that they're even having to do things like that. So,
but like, should paddles?
Well, what'd be interesting is which paddles on the market does not fall out of
spec,
like out of spec at 90 degrees. Maybe it's zero. We don't know. Is it zero?
Well, that's a great question because Jame says he has never had a paddle fail ever.
Okay. Well, shout out to 6-0, I guess.
And he says he's used his paddle for 4 tournaments before. Like, that's the longest he's run the same paddle. So, exactly. Props to 6-0 because, I mean,
if that's true.
Obviously.
Right.
Yeah, like the Engage.
He seems pretty honest.
The Engage core is softer, so it makes sense that it melts a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But wouldn't that make it hotter? So wouldn't it?
No, exactly. Yeah, I'm still on that boat. Like, these paddles are obviously a little hotter then. Like, it's
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
That was the big drama this week.
What else you got on your corner?
That was all I wrote down for this one.
Oh, that was it.
What? That was it?
Yeah, that was the only big one I had. That was the only big one I had.
All right, we'll finish with a little paddle babble and gear. We have a few minutes left. Proton's been a big subject for me recently, just because I recently met Jordan Yeager. He's a really cool dude.
Yeah.
You guys been doing? He does like the reviews for your channel.
Yeah.
Great player, dude. The nastiest backhand stuff
Yeah.
I've ever seen. He can pull out some stuff from his ankles.
I saw that match that you played with him against Andre and Red.
Yeah, all my pop up dinks. No, that was fun. I wish we could do another one against them, but no, they were so impressive with those paddles. Like they didn't miss much.
That just goes to show you that's a freaking trained pro, man.
Yeah,
they could play with anything.
Those guys are good.
Those guys are freaking good, dude.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan's better than me, and like I'm not a horrible player, and they just like walked over us. Like, we had a handful of pretty good points, but for the most part, I just couldn't hang.
Yeah.
But that was fun. Next time I need to give them. I don't know. I'm gonna handicap them even more. This was my first time playing like that high level of players.
Give them the Selkirk Rileys.
Yeah, give them those little like kid paddles. But I want to talk about Proton for a minute. So I ran like my tests, like my spin power pop tests on those. They the power and pop is just kind of meh. I thought it was gonna give me a little more at the 11 millimeter. The spin is solid.
What are the numbers right now?
Like for that paddle.
Yeah, what are numbers? Because I mean, Jordan does them all the time, so I just want to know how good is this paddle?
Yeah, so like spin
What do we
wise,
got?
for me, if I get a paddle that's around 2,000 RPMs, that's like really good.
So
The average is
Okay.
kind of like 1900 to 1950 for me.
yeah,
So this one was averaging right around 2,000, which is
Okay.
super solid. It's
Okay.
not like unheard of,
yeah.
but I only have like a handful of brands or paddles that are averaging around there, and it's one of them. So the spin's solid.
Okay.
And then
It's weird too because I hit with one the other day. It's weird because it's so smooth.
yeah,
So
it
I don't-
uses like
how-
adhesion over.
So how does I don't
Like
know
that
I don't
type,
know
yeah.
how it grips it. That's pretty.
It has
crazy.
like a polyurethane face that it uses like almost like a rubbery, like grips it that way.
Yeah, it's the friction that's
And,
causing it.
So Billy hit me up right after I ran these tests. He's like, "Yo, I want to try this paddle." I was like, "Great. These things are supposed to have a break-in paddle. Go break it in for me." So he's been drilling with it, and I think he played with you using the
Yeah, we
Proton.
drilled. Yeah.
And he's like, "I'm going to use this in Newport this week." And I was like, "Wait, really?"
Yeah.
And so Billy took my paddle and is going to play Newport with, and he's been hunting around. So he's like an instructor at the Flying Pickle. He's been trying to find a new sponsor. So he's tried like the paddle text, the engages. He used to play Yola. So he likes a little more muted paddle over like a super hot one. So this one kind of fit that, and then but he liked the feel of it. He liked the spin on it.
I hit with it for 3 minutes.
Yeah. What was your
I
impression?
was surprised the feel with the 11 millimeter.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Seriously.
Yeah, you would
was-
expect something a little firmer, a little
Yeah.
harder, a little harsher,
Yeah,
but
it
it
wasn't
wasn't
bad.
horrible.
Yeah.
And it needed some weight. I haven't played it with weight. I know Billy weighted it up, so I need to mess with that.
They're usually pretty heavy stock. What was your stock?
The elongateds are super heavy.
Oh yeah, you
stock.
got the square.
the one Billy was playing with is the square. I think the square is the way to go, just weight wise,
Yeah.
because then you can add weight
Yeah.
and improve its stability because the twist weight's not great.
Some of the elongateds were coming in at like 8.8 stock. So
Yeah, no, they're heavy. Yeah, my elongated 15 was like 8.6 or
Okay.
7. Yeah, it's super heavy. But yeah, more stuff on there. I've been testing a ton of paddles lately, and so the ones I'm going to review next are the Monarchs from 11.624. These are like wide bodies.
11.6.
And,
okay.
Yeah, they're like a little smaller brand. I thought maybe they're Hirache like X or whatever. I got some attention. I thought it might be like like a splash in the pan, but they're coming out with some new ones that are pretty solid. So I'm excited about those.
Nice.
And then so I'll be doing a review of those next, and then the Protons, and then we'll see what we get from there. But sticking with paddles for you, Jordan, tell us, you're sponsored by Selkirk. Which Selkirk paddle do you play?
Deluxe.
Deluxe.
Deluxe Epic. The softest paddle
Also,
Yeah, so-
in the market.
Yep.
the standard,
The Tempur-Pedic pillow.
the marshmallow.
Yeah.
the marshmallow. Yeah. The why do you pick that one?
Someone with Selkirk, right? A little biased, right? I mean, they
But I mean, within the Selkirk line, there's a lot of options.
yeah. But Selkirk's been great company. Why do I play with that one? Just for my game right now, and I've kind of, I've played with all of them. Power Air, the new, which is the one that they
Amped Pro.
Yeah, the Am Pro, but also the one before that.
Jordan doesn't even know. all the-
Vanguard.
I know all the lines. Vanguard. There you go.
Yeah, the
There you
Vanguard
go.
controller.
No, I know all the lines. I know all the lines.
We know the paddles better than him.
Yeah, I mean, you guys do it for a living, so you should. No, but no, I mean, I just stick with the Lux because I just like the feel. At some point, so we'll see. But yeah, we'll see what Soccer has coming down the pipeline. But I would definitely, eventually, I'm gonna get to something with a lot more power and things like that. But like the power air, the forgiveness is just not there. But I could control the Lux really, really well, and I could pretty much hit resets from anywhere.
Yeah, that thing feels good, no doubt.
So
How often or how long do you hang on to a paddle? Like 1 month, 2 months, 1 week?
man, now that I'm not playing tournaments, I'm playing with the same paddle for like 3-4 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me. But by trying the Proton, sometimes I just mess around and just hit with different stuff. I can't wait until I get some, try some other stuff because my counter is like, basically I've built my game around the Lux, and I kind of did that a little bit because I like the paddle, but I know I'm lacking the power and the spin. But like, when I do end up switching over to something, it's going to be pretty nasty because like I've basically still playing at a really, really high level with that soft paddle. And when I move to something with more spin and more power, it's gonna be
It's tough
great.
making a switch. Like when you get so used to a paddle, like you build your game around it, you build your swing around it, like the feel is there for it. And switching, like you have to kind of change your mechanics a little bit. Like when you go to a lot of paddles, you're gonna have to tighten things up a little bit, and it's it's different. It's easier in some ways, but harder in others. And like it's tough switching paddles when you've been playing the same one for so long, especially coming from that one, where it's so control oriented and you can control it so well. Everything comes so easy. But yeah, no, there's definitely some benefits to sticking with the same paddle for a long time. And no, I think I would be better if I stuck with the same paddle.
What are you
no
playing
question.
with in Newport?
I'm gonna use the Honolulu J2K.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
The red one,
Uh-huh.
like the ruby or whatever.
It's kind of like Ruby with a little more pop.
Okay.
To me, that one plays similar to a 14 in like the trajectory and how it feels, but it's got like the forgiveness of like a 16, and so I kind of like that combo. I've always been partial to 14.
Yeah, how is that compared to the 6.0 14s now?
Yeah, so it's more forgiving than the 14s.
Oh, it is more forgiving.
Yeah, I mean 14s naturally, right, are gonna have a little tighter sweet spots, but the 60 on the J2K is more forgiving. It's even more forgiving than other like hybrid 60 millimeters. But when I'm driving it and like attacking from below the net, it stays lower, which I like. Because I don't like I use spin, but I do hit it a little bit flatter, and I think a lower trajectory kind of benefits people that hit the ball a little flatter, and people who are like heavy, spin players do better with like a higher launch angle that 60 millimeters typically give you. And yeah, but that's the one I'm going to use. I'm excited to play it. I don't know if I'm going to like stick with it 100% as like my new go-to, but I'm going to use it in Newport and see how things go.
Nice, man.
Yeah, we'll conclude there with for the paddle babble. And but yeah, Jordan, thanks for hopping on, man. Really enjoyed it. Appreciate the insights.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys.
See you, everyone.
Later.